Defense made a motion for a mistrial. Prosecutor was up to some fuckery. Potentially damaging evidence, no basis for it. The judge specifically said, do not ask that question. Do not use that as evidence. She walked right down the path and asked the question. It may be over on Tuesday morning. Batman Bruce Wayne bitch snitch. Gerald Brooks, your constitution does not apply to me because I'm a sovereign citizen, a traveler on the land. I'm the Moorish Empire or whatever, bitch snitch. Because they're so fucking absurd. If you want to be a sovereign citizen, just do yourself a favor first. Go to YouTube here and just get every sovereign citizen that's ever been before. Find me one that won. God dang, you're right. Don't go down this. It's not the path. Don't have time for stupidity. Some clever dick on the internet didn't find the great loophole in all of the world's law. Bitch snitch. God dang, you're right. God dang, you're right. Traveler on the land. God dang, you're right. Moorish Empire. Traveler on the land. Bitch snitch. Moorish Empire. God dang, you're right. Traveler on the land. Bitch snitch. The late evening U.S. people. What's up? You can still say that. What's up? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you're doing it with, why you're doing it in the first place, however good it feels, however many times you're going to do it, all this. I don't care. I'm just glad you're here with me. Legal Vices on this little old channel we call Legal Vices. We are here for day 6.2. Day 6.2 of the LEILANI Simon trial. Day 6 of 9. There's 9 days in the verdict. So we're past the halfway mark. We're nearing 2/3 of the way through this thing. So another week or two, we'll be done with it. And that leads us to the like and subscribe poll. People are still trickling in here as we're getting underway. Our like and subscribe poll points out that this is going to end someday. And please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's see what happens, shall we? And vote. Once you've done that, once you've hit the vices button, once you've hit the vote button, you will have cast your vote for what do we do after this trial? What do we do next after this trial? Like, subscribe, vote. And if you have already subscribed, just double check to make sure you still are. Your choices for what we cover next are Judge Grudge, the Tonsil Twins, Maya Kowalski, and court cam reactions. If you're not familiar with any of those, it's a Judge Grudge is formerly a judge of the What the Hales crowd and all of the shenanigans that go on with that. We don't follow that drama. We follow the judge because the judge is quite the interesting character. The Tonsil Twins, that's Laura Owens and Clayton Eckert and David Gingras and all these other people. And there's Maya Kowalski, the Take Care of Maya trial. There's been a lot of movement in that we haven't covered. And just to chill out with some court cam reactions. Those are your choices: Judge Grudge, Tonsil Twins, Maya Kowalski, and court cam reactions. Remember, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, double check to make sure you're subscribed, and then go over there and vote. Today, starting us off with day 62 of the emotional support potato pig dogs. Today is day 62. Will we hit day 63? Yesterday, most of you were of the opinion that we're going to hit the the triple digits, the 100-day streak. But so far, the streak has been going for 62 days. Let's see if we can get that streak to go up for 63. It's all entirely in your hands. You know what needs to be done for that to happen. So let's just kick it there now. We're going to go into the trial right now because we're done with the background stuff. No need to continue to beat that particular dead horse. We've got the like and subscribe poll. We've got the day 62 of the emotional support potato pig dogs, and we've got the trial here. Now, we left off yesterday in the middle of some really horrifically bad FBI video. The audio and video, well, the video's okay. The audio just sucks ass. So we've got about 30 more minutes of fairly imperceptible stuff going on. We'll do our best to hear what's being said, and we'll talk about it when we can. But there's about 30 more minutes of this, and then we're done. So prepare to be screeched at in really terrible audio by LEILANI Simon, who's in the middle of being interrogated by the FBI. All right. I guess there's no sense prolonging it. There we go. Here's a FBI dude number 1, FBI chick number 2, and our erstwhile defendant, LEILANI Simon, who alternately screeches, pretends or tries to cry, and gets really quiet, and then has that evil laugh of hers, the laugh thing she does. All right, we have the closed captions. We're going to be watching the 1.25 speed. If and when any super chats come in, we will read them at little breaks in the trial and whatnot. Starting us off with not dropping a super chat today, dropping a super sticker. It's Matilda. What's up, Matilda? All the way from the Netherlands with a snowy football. Oh, it's a rabbit. It's a rabbit on top of a football. Okay. A soccer ball, as we call it in the States. Thank you so much for the €2 sticker. Thank you so much, Matilda. Good afternoon in the Netherlands from Korea. All right, that is done. If any more of those come in, we'll just we'll read them. We'll flash them up so we know they're there, and we'll read them during the lulls in the trial, the breaks, and whatnot, and just whenever I think it's time to stop and talk, which we might have to do a couple of times because of her screeching. But for now, whatever you're going to hear next, contrary to what the subtitles say, what the closed captions say, you're not going to hear music. Probably just more banshee screeching. But let's go. The best. That's not music. Well, Walter Waller, it's okay. You can stick around because we can't hear anything that's being said. Hang out with us. I do understand, but she's going to get what's coming to her in the end. I didn't leave the house. The crappy recording can't pick up anything that's being said, but the camera can pick up the shine from the bald spot in the back of dude's head.
It's nasty.
Something was nasty. All right, I'm going to skip a little bit, see if there's a better, if it gets better at any point. All right. Now they're starting the confrontation. Now they're thinking, why don't you just be honest with us? Why do you just tell us the truth for the first time?
I have a problem with the ways of other people's safety, other people who do for it. I don't want to be listed, and then just I could have put it for myself, and that's how I end up in situations that I'm in. Because by the time that I'm done, I have to take care of myself. That's too late, So we don't ask that ourselves if we're parents. What did I not self-confident to the left? I told you about one to avoid. That's the truth about ourselves. I didn't. Just a little bit. Let's get it over from work. At this point, we're talking about things that we're and right now, when it comes to home, I'm going to be on it. So you understand that. But let's take this truth and just have it walking down the side, take it a little bit far. Because before we just be like but now, kind of now, it's the almost things important in mind, and that's all we're thinking about. Because we don't go from home to going back. So with that in mind, let's get it.
All right, they're just trying to get her to confess. Basically, I'm just piecing this together. He was talking about, you're walking us down this path. You need to tell us the truth. We can't help you unless you tell us the truth. We need, and so I guess that's what they're doing. I'm getting ready to skip a little bit more of this.
The next step, and the next logical step is you got the concept. Where do you get the concept from? They're talking about home here. Yeah, there's people, but there's multiple people there. There's friends, there's two. It's like an engine group. But you know it's correct. Correct. Yeah, you kind of not correct. I'm going to opposite two. Opposite two. There's a person every time I say it.
Now, again, bear in mind, this is the shitty audio that the Federal Bureau of Investigation is using in 2022 to interrogate a witness they believe killed a small child. Surely the FBI has better technology than this. Freaking use it. Man, if I was her lawyer, I would, well, it's late now, but I mean, at the appropriate pre-trial time, I would have been putting up a major stink saying this cannot possibly come in. You can't understand a damn thing that's being said. Now, granted, we are hearing it through computer speakers picked up by a microphone farther away. It might sound really good in court, but it sounds like crap here. So so yeah, we're just picking up whatever's picked up through the mic on the speaker. So there you go. Well, while we're paused here for the truth, to be honest, I'd rather have that background noise than Leilani's awful rambling, nonsensical attempt at crying. True. Thank you so much for here for the truth. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, and speaking of super chats, I've set up a goal. If you hadn't noticed, it's a long shot, but we just set it up there anyway. If we get 20 yellow super chats today, I'll do a long weekend Saturday trucking stream. That's whatever. We'll invite other people to come trucking with me if they want to, but I just threw that up there as a little bit of a possibility, a little bit of a challenge. If we get 20 yellow super chats, we will do a weekend truck driving stream. Take that for what it's worth. Do what you want with it. It's there. All right. And she's here, so let's get back to it. I'm pretty sure it sounds better in court because, like I said, they are just hearing it through the speakers. We're hearing it through the speakers across a distance to be picked up by an already suspect mic. So I'm sure it sounds better there, but we already read that one. Let's continue.
Toddler, black man, he's 46 years old, dark skin, long dreads. It's actually very nice. God, sweet. Besides his business owner, he's always been like a top lady on the right stay focused. I don't know that person. Other than that, we've never actually hung up on that, but just to go whether they don't want to go. First, that's how we even became like that because that's the parent they just switched me up to one back thing. Like, oh, my friend, I don't know. So that's how that started. I only get a 100%. And sometimes I wouldn't call. It's just pull up, not over.
So is he the man that you
Yeah, they even from my house. She goes to the camper and back of that same property. There's a very back of the property too. There's a camper up there, so other houses up there. The white van is one of them. I want to say it's like an older 2010 maybe something like that. And we got a black truck. It's always right up for the property guys, but they always have for vehicles.
All right, I'm going to skip a little bit. This is just incomprehensible. All right, so they're questioning her on forgetting details and thinking if we knew these things 3 days ago, it might help us. So they're pressing her for more details, pressing her on contradictions.
Where did you put the trash bag? So you want to be able to get the old job. There's a trash bag already in the car.
Yeah, it's not before.
The trash bag was already in the car when you get the ordeal.
And he put it in the car earlier that day because like it's maggots or anything, like you can smell it, it's nasty. And whenever he would have to take it off. So when I finally get the car again, to go with the order down, smells really nice. Was it full in the trash? Or just like it's full kitchen and like full for it to clean out? Yeah. So.
I just want to be here because I want you to understand that Savannah and I here, this investigation is going to continue. We want you all. If there ever is a point in time.
That's why I make sure that I get this one listener. So.
Okay, now they're saying this investigation is going to continue. If you got anything to say, now is the time to do it. There's no better time than right now to tell us something if you got something to say. So they're putting her on the spot. Good.
I'm talking about my brother weekend. We sat there, we walked through it. He's like, well, there's some questions for maybe somebody didn't ask. I'm like, maybe you want to give something that didn't. Just get it there with another time. So every single day, even when I have coffee, we sat down and we coffee. And so we put off and the answers, let him scream. And they were realizing he was crying in my sleep. They're still young, Quentin. In my sleep. Everyone stopped. I didn't think anything of him. He was just I'm good. I'm going to call her. See an opportunity to put it out. You know, we're going to get from her. Because I had to where you can see I didn't purchase it. I didn't go nowhere to purchase that over family. Like that, you know. It was good.
Well, that's another thing I got to work through. And then, you know, we may not get through that today, we'll get through that. But just like I talked about the process, it's a little bit different. We got to go through.
And there are times like I didn't tell Procedural because I don't really know. It was the second time I've done it. I got it for myself within 2 weeks. Yeah.
But everything is that day about them makes other sense and confront it.
Yeah.
Like everything, there's still some things that we gotta work through because we can't confront it.
All right, they're not buying her stuff. She's saying there's still some stuff we got to work through. You know, it's not making a lot of sense. So let's keep working through this. Working through things. Fly on the Wall, new member. Thank you so much, Fly on the Wall, for joining the Clean and Sober crew. Thank you so very much for being a supporter. You've joined the crowd. Welcome. I hope you'll stick around for a while. And Blue Varro has stuck around for 20 months. Thank you so much, Blue Varro, for the unending support. I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much for this. Let's get back to this and try to get through it. I'm going to skip through a little bit more. This is just unfortunately too bad audio to really listen to for any length of time.
That's what like you start these hours, just tell the truth and let us know. So we got to have that same conversation. That way we still can see.
And I did. I did. Please.
Well, I want you to know that I myself have spoken to this. Multiple other investigators spoke to this. And he's been to our office. He didn't talk to this. He did. So let's just give you the truths. Of course, how it just comes down. Missy, relying on communication, there's no record of it. Missy came in, she talks to you after night, she talks to
We're talking about how this went down. Yeah.
and she had no recollection. But she didn't tell me the truth.
Oh, hush, hush.
But they're there, hoping that light was on, hoping that something was on the car and or something. I don't even know.
So that takes us to this right here.
Yeah.
That takes us to this.
But,
So we get
yeah,
that.
I'm just like, I don't, but, you go around there, so something.
What's more?
You know, I was on my, no, I was with me, and I told Amy, I was going to the room, and he was opposite, so I didn't know about mine.
So like this is really kind of really close to what you understand. And then take a deeper. What we're talking about, and right now, just sit here and talk to you. What we're talking about, how we said that you got.
So now I never forget, and I was like,
I'm going to get that. But you gotta understand that you're going to be 100% truthful about it. 100%. That's the only way that we're going to get it.
Again, that's the only way. You've got to be 100% truthful. That's the only way we're getting through this. We're going to keep going.
he did it super about it, but I was just fine, so I don't know.
That's a good thing.
You know,
Because
it's a lot of fun, but you know,
as you move forward, doesn't it?
I did work at that. I found it, and the card was the ones that I lost. And I was trying to bring it back to the house. And I got talking about it.
So the whole purpose of this trip
Was to see if this was something, because obviously I didn't have enough anymore than anything. And when I got home the next time, it wasn't on there anymore, because it gave me a number.
so help me understand this. And I need your help. Without you, I can't talk about it. Okay? So you've got to help me understand this. So in your house at 111, to go randomly drive to Missy's house.
She don't really up. Now I remember up when I was ran on gas last
Did
time.
you saw what it was doing?
When I ran on gas that night, it was 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. That I really let her answer. And she didn't answer. I said, "Well, I ran through. I could really like it's not. She was asking. I think it was like old seafood magazine.
That's not a lot worse than that.
So that's not what we got now. I was all just I didn't go anywhere else. I didn't leave my phone anywhere. Everywhere I went, just right there.
So what you did, you left the house at 1 o'clock in the morning, you left all the trash.
I really want on the board. I told like, look, there's nobody wanting to fight that her son garage was in there. Was not in there. It's normally parked in the front. There's like a tree right there.
Getting more about why she threw the trash away there. Something to do with Missy. How much longer do we have on this thing? About 10 more minutes, it looks like. 10, 15 minutes.
I didn't want to know one solar this from the church. It was like, okay, well, let me see that's not progress. And I can't find it. Let me go see if we can push something.
So his old job out for the person.
Or based on the inside of your tooth, is my tooth is broken down or whatever. I mean, something that I can really fix it fully. You know, so I'll put it back here. It's like, come on.
Hey, Swan Lake lady, what's up?
By the time I got home, and I'm sitting there, like, it started to hit, and I'm like, I just felt it come on.
When you left work,
I love the house.
but you took a couple seconds when you got back to the
Yeah,
house.
it was like a love it. Yeah, no, like, I take it as soon as I get back home. I took it. 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Oh, whatever.
So they're going on.
11 something. It takes about an hour for it to hit and some change.
It takes an hour for a couple seconds.
Normally, it depends on if it's fast acting or if it's old. But that drug thing was old. It took a little bit longer to hit. And obviously, it's old because people can't get all of these scripts that easy.
That is true.
So when it did it, they have the great reduction for people. Then when it hit, it hit. And it said T189, so I know for a fact that was my soul purpose goes really, you go and see if
Well, she took some drugs for the tooth, I guess. The orange gel.
You only went through your trash. Where did you put that trash at?
Normally we send it to Zelle or Copy Bell. Copy Bell is the two places that we get to, and
They throw their garbage away in 2 separate places. Basically, because they don't want to pay the fees to have trash picked up from their house. They throw it in somebody else's dumpster.
We got home and they said we're trying to clean up, make dinner, all this stuff, things ready for when we get the kids up for 30. So part of that cleaning was cleaning up fridge and, put everything in the cooler shower. And we were going to go shopping for a big car. And that's what we want to do. And so I stuff in there.
So it's about the before summer.
Yeah.
Don't use the big trash cans around.
Yeah, it's just put all of them. It's just put all of them. It's like you get started and you put one there or somewhere without this nasty, so stay off. And it's because Thomas gets mad when that place down. That trash was already started before we even got to cleaning out the fridge. It was already sitting in the trash can. And we got it, we finished cleaning it out. And that's how we looked in there. We didn't have gnats and flies and all that stuff. The house for the flies and all whatever. And I think it's just a little weather changing. And later, eventually, it was faster. So, and like, let's do it ourselves. Like, when we pull down the fridge,
In the fridge.
yeah. Like, I'll take some shell away sometimes. And when I don't, look, it's still my pages, so it's still broccoli, there's the other broccoli, eggs, all that nasty, and that big bowl of pasta salad or something.
So yeah, that trash bag was in the car.
Before I got
When did the trash bag get placed in the car?
I can't tell you exactly the time, I know it was before we picked up the kids, because the plan was, what I'm gonna get up the kids.
So then,
Was the trash bag in the car already, or did you pick it up? Oh, it was already in the car. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was supposed to keep it, but because himself, I said, the house, he was supposed to take off all the trash, or whatever, and they said, sidetracked and didn't load up the rest. Like I told him, go put that in there, we go ahead and load up the rest, and we go check out the other kids, and they didn't with the rest.
and so then we go back to where we were Wednesday, and we come over the rest and we go now. So now we have probably 7. And we know that we didn't need this.
What was the intention?
Wasn't intentional, but what I was understanding is we were talking about the disappearance. Only we were talking about the disappearance. That information that you just allowed us could have led us in other directions that would help us find them person. Mercy there.
Another reason is like, I see that. You see this is like that. You see him in bed. He was laying there in the bed and he swore up and down to me like he's seen him. Swore up and down like he's seen him. And when he was like, the question was so much, I don't know. I was like, that just is something. Even if you glance, it doesn't matter if you glance. If you're a parent, you know the baby's better. That's all we want.
That's all we want.
He's so pretty.
But you can see what I'm talking about here. You can see what I'm talking about. We talk about process. When we talk about listen and abortion, mercy, it's huge. It's huge. But you have all the information and you talk to us about that.
That's just anything that Italy, I've never been in a situation like this, and you don't ever think anything of this is gonna happen to you. And it's there was one of these guys that I said, if they ask me to basically, because it's not like a credit line. I love that was true. When he was there, when the light was on, like it was on night, and I was like, yes, I would have pulled right up there. I would pull it right there, and I was like, what? And she, I got yes, and she gave me a little bit too. I didn't say, well, it's me. I didn't think anything, I just didn't think it would happen after 6. That was my thought process. What happened after 6? He was told that he was lost even at 6, and he said he's staying when he left. He texted the babysitter and said that they're not coming. So if they're not coming and you were up at that time, you knew the babies were there. That's what's on there.
Well, that's the person that's needed for the last time. This one, things will that building. That's seeking quality. This will be.
The FBI guy whispering doesn't help.
I'm not enough to take my insurance. She can tell me.
The way release when it starts doing this sometimes that I'll probably take 2 or whatever because you wait an hour and doesn't hit. And almost anxiously about that could have to do I was thinking that we could have been clashing. I was like, I didn't know that they were for all that happened. Just think. Yeah, and the day, yeah, and I'm not sure, this is the 4 ways to get to here, that's gonna be on these streets over here. Coming, yeah, no, like, COJAN, count. So we got that from there, I think Daniel's gonna talk about this. Like I said, it's like there's a corner store, but this is the public road, it's the corner store down here. They keep on running, it's this first street, it's the last house on the right hand side. And he's still doing it, so weed, he's smoked that house a few times. I've been giving them baby bags and big clothes and stuff for their little babies that are playing and they're going out of whatever. And he would just rinse away some. I used to wake up and you know, like I'm more like I wake up and I'll have to choose for this for them. So I know I do it throughout the night. And then I go to bed and then I go up. Sometimes it's before 2, sometimes it's after 4. I just don't have much else to do. So what kind of day I was having?
So just before we left, they would take the trash to the you were on cocaine, and they always said,
Well, so she did cocaine before she went for her drive. You have to do cocaine to take the trash out.
And I did the same thing up to the regular, the hospital.
So, I think you're doing great. You're doing great, and this is the type of stuff that's going to help us on the way.
Yeah, right.
I didn't really know how to 100% explain why the hell I just left and I didn't call her or whatever because I didn't have a contact. And used to. I got a text message and number, so I couldn't call.
We're almost done with this. Hang in. Hang in there.
Before I heard that, he was really excited. I can't tell you exactly what they got. And some others who can get it, they said, well, and I was like, no. Yeah, I see the doors opening up constantly every time a lot was going on, and I smoked the cigarettes.
So when you come back home from taking the trash to Snider, do you do more than you get back up?
I didn't know one of them again. I kind of got the hot food. And
That's what you do that.
let's stand up under the TV, let's have a long room, and that was the voice on top of that. Then that is correct. And high end, you know, not putting down nothing like that.
All right, I'm going to go to the end of this. I'm sure they're saying something important.
That trash bag was placed in the car just before when they got a kid, and you knew that was really there from the microphone.
It was harmful. It was just old food, older, just out of the fridge. I'm sure that right there to go around, but already almost like right here.
So push that, you have to push with 2 hands to get in there.
No, I just had a delivery bowl. They tried to dumpster.
All right, that's actually an important thing. And the only reason I know what he's saying is because the FBI agent testified to it before the video started. He was saying that they were asking her how heavy the bag was. And you're saying it's just stinky shrimp pasta. But then when she described how she threw it in the dumpster, she said she used 2 hands to throw this container of pasta into the dumpster, and that's why they were just confirming that. So you used 2 hands to push it up into the dumpster, and she's like, yeah. So yeah, he's saying you probably don't need 2 hands to push a container of rotten spaghetti into the dumpster.
Yeah, it was about halfway full, a little bit more than halfway full. And I did not use 2 hands, I just couldn't make it.
Right, so I know this is hard to do a little short, but let's say just before that.
Just before that, you're going to 6 hours, and like you're going to get
We didn't do that, right?
when you try to control all the time, you can see that tree, it's literally like trees is right there in front of your house, right before the driveway. When you drive by, if you glance, you can see that, and you can see the first lights.
But this one right here, because this camera right here sits right there, so you're already driven by that one, right?
Yeah, it's right back there, as soon as I flew in. I didn't see it, it was blue.
And we have an Aussie Overlord raid. Welcome, Aussie Overlord Raiders. Join us. Join us. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. There's 202 of us here now. Now there's 208 of us. Woo! 130 likes, though. Come on, people. Step it up. Step it up. We're just about ready to get through the end of this terrible video that we've been watching, and we'll get back to decent audio here in just a bit. Vicky Hat 82 says, do we know where her other kids are who got custody? Did Danny get his daughter? The last I heard was that the grandmother still had custody, and she was fighting for full legal custody of both of the children, including Danny's. So that's the last I heard, and that was earlier this year. I don't know how it turned out, but on the stand, Danny said that he didn't have custody of his daughter. So I'm assuming Grandma, the lovely woman she is, still has custody of them, still has physical custody of them.
I don't know anybody else who actually saw the person I never saw her husband, so I didn't. That's why I didn't go through.
Yeah, the grandma who already raised two killers. Yeah, that one.
That's what you're telling me to declare. You can see the tree, you can see the light. Yeah. And I got here, got dark in the car, yeah.
Right, are we done?
Little box of stuff. I know how much something is. And when I lost my voice, I was like 40 times over. It was like 32 pounds or something like that. It was some people so did. And and I went to sleep and I got up. I don't.
One thing happened and you were absolutely blitzed out of your mind. Yes, on a apparent combination of marijuana, cocaine, and Percocet.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened at all.
I know maybe right there in the moment, you had no idea. You know, you just had the issue with him. You felt like he was abandoned. You were hurt. You were struggling. You had nobody to reach out to.
No one ever comes to me.
We see that. We see it in the video. I want to copy the video here. We see that with the watch. And we know the struggles that you're facing. We understand that. As best we can, we try to understand. We can't never figure out, we don't completely understand it. But watching those videos, again, like I say, look, I heard from you. Now I can understand this.
There's nothing that happened to my knowledge that they was in a You had 2 other babies. You're by yourself, and something happened, and you beside yourself, and there's no one ever can help you alone. And you've got 2 babies, got the and what that was that too. What time you had that? Got bed, watching TV, and I was sleeping really strong, and I was really tired. Yeah, he went with me. He went with me. Our brother got there, and we just had the ace, and I got out there. What was happening?
And kids are in the house.
Every time me and my mother really, when we were together because of the struggles that taking place out in public and going shopping and like that. So it was like he would go or I would go. And if we all went, it was normally right after dinner. The kids were already in the car. But there's nothing that happened that would make us. I will tell you that yes, I was messed up, and I was messed up, and I was messed up, and I was sometimes so I'll change the way I guess. There was nothing that happened that I can remember. When I went to bed, as far as I know, he was there. When I woke up, he wasn't. So there was nothing at all just my knowledge that I can remember. And it is my fault because I was so messed up. It's huge. I was so I did something to him. I don't remember doing it to him.
Right there, boom goes that dynamite. Holy crap! Right, that was what he testified to there in before he started the video. Yes, I was messed up. I don't know what happened. If I did something to him, I don't remember it. This is what we've sat through an hour and 15 minutes of this video to hear. It's just this last little bit.
When I woke up, he wasn't. So there was nothing at all to my knowledge that I can remember. And that could be my fault. It is my fault because I was so much. It's huge. So I would say that I did something to him. I don't remember doing
I did something I don't remember doing.
I don't remember hurting him. I don't remember taking the baby or anything like that. I remember seeing him in that bed when I went to sleep. That's what I remember. And I do remember the feeling. He's such a pretty baby. And one was, she wakes up around 4 or something in the doorway, and then it came up 3 or 4. You know, I gave her that to the bottom of her mouth, and she popped up. And Richard Danny or something, I don't remember what it was. Anyway. Name, I remember the flip camera blanket. I remember the serious face and he was asleep. I don't know anything else.
But something happened. That's why I said for this question. We're there. We know something happened. It wasn't, nobody's saying that you strangled, you killed your baby. I'm not saying that. But we both know something happened that night that we have got to figure out. And that's where we are. Now, I am pleading with you to help me help you control this because you're put in a bad situation, a very difficult situation. We talked about this. The addiction to cocaine, the addiction to cocaine. I mean, the crying out loud, you could smell around cocaine and go to sleep.
Yeah, I know. That's good.
So just have us go back. Quentin wasn't crying and did something that you just actually right now got pushed so far back in your army. You love that boy on the
Yeah, just go back. You know, you're battling the drugs. You got the drug addiction. Something happened. Was he crying and you just snapped? What happened? Did he push you too far? Tell us what happened. Just pressing her and pressing her and pressing her.
I can see that video that I watched. He was crying. But you did something. You had no control. What did you want to do?
I told him that I did not do anything, so he said,
Anything intentional.
I don't remember anything from my home. He's like, Steve, I'm putting it back.
We're trying to help you.
I don't know what he's doing. I really don't. I don't know what happened to him.
I don't know.
I don't know. I want to know. Oh, it was so bad. Touching your baby. It's so hard. He was there and I was asleep. And I was like, my God, I did something. It's so weird. I'll take my responsibility, but I don't know what it was in my bed, and I don't know what happened, and I don't know where he is. I know you're gonna look. I told you too, and you asked me everything, but I'm gonna make us take it over, and I don't know at all. You know, and I don't.
You said that, right? But sometimes you don't remember when you changed until it's already happened.
Until it's already happened. Yeah.
And then you wake up and you're back to yourself.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It wasn't a lot of mine, which was a lot of thing, and I don't know if I did something to him. But if I did, I'll take my responsibility.
If I did something to him, I will take responsibility. Yeah, she did it. She totally did it. If I did something, I don't remember it. But if I did do something, I'll take responsibility for it.
I don't take responsibility, but I'm so Peter to God. And I go home to the light and follow my orders. That's all I want.
The end.
I just have some follow-up questions, Robert. Getting pretty close to being done with this direct examination. Just to recap a few things from that interview, you know,
I need to find my pipe stand. I'll be right back.
Did she ultimately tell you that the Percocet she had obtained that night was from Craig?
She did. That's correct. Yes, sir.
And this was something that she had identified as Red in earlier interviews.
That's correct.
But in this interview, she confirmed that Craig and Red are the same person.
Yes, sir.
And in this interview, she admitted that she had met him at Parkwright Road, not Flacco's Tacos.
That's correct.
What did she ultimately say eventually about whether she had met Misty that night?
Ultimately, as a result of the interview, she provided that she hadn't indeed met Missy that night.
And that was only after first telling you in here that I did meet Missy 100%.
On multiple occasions, yes.
What did she ultimately say about whether she had gotten Oragel that night and where she had gotten it?
She couldn't get off the fact that she did get Oragel. So after we came to the determination that she didn't get Oragel from Missy, she continued to state that she had the Oragel, found it in her car when she got back to the house.
Is it the case that she offered this information about cocaine use eventually to explain her shifting stories?
That's correct.
And what did she say to you about the frequency of her cocaine use around this time?
All the
Not just
time.
at night, but just the frequency of her cocaine use generally.
Yes, sir. So that she was a daily cocaine user, and she was using cocaine, Percocet, marijuana on October the 4th, as well as the early morning hours of October the 5th.
And specifically, did she tell you that she had been using cocaine throughout the night that night?
She did, yes, sir.
Did she tell you that after she had gotten home from the dumpster, she had hit another line or two?
She did.
And did she tell you that she was all types of fucked up that night?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
At one point, did she say that I was so messed up on drugs?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
And did she tell you that if I was so fucked up that I did something, I'd take responsibility?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
All right. Now, were you involved in the coordination and oversight of the landfill search?
Yes, sir. I was.
Now, can you tell us generally, in relation to the search area pointed out by the landfill manager and then later outlined by Team Adam, where were Quentin's remains ultimately found in relation to that box or stuff across there?
They were found in the lower left portion of the box that Team Adam had identified for the search team as the area to search.
Now, did you all keep an open mind during this investigation and take seriously the idea of Paul and Danny as suspects?
We did.
Why did the investigation ultimately focus in on the defendant?
Ultimately, there were 3 individuals in that house, 3 adults in that house. And of those 3 adults, there was only one that continued to lie to us throughout the course of the investigation.
No further questions, right?
The other one just wanted his damn pizza.
You can take this opportunity to break for lunch, and Mr. Schroeder, you can begin your cross-examination when we come back.
All right, they'll take the lunch break
Yes,
and start
the time now
the
is
cross-examination.
20, let's be back at 2:20 since we have lunch here.
And we have time traveled through lunch. Just a quick second here. Jack, my friend, I'm sorry. I had to delete that message. No spoilers. No, we're not looking into the future. So just no foul. I'm just saying we don't do spoilers here. We don't know how we don't know how this turns out yet. We have a good idea how it's going to turn out, but we don't know yet because we haven't been watching it. So I apologize for having to delete that comment for those that didn't see it. All right. Let's get back for lunch. We're back from the lunch here. What do we got to read? Don't have anything to read. And all right, let's I guess all right, that's it. Let's go. No problem, Jack. No worries. Shh. Shh. Winks dropping the first of the 10. The first of the 10, dropping it for Doggos and Truckstream. Doggos appreciate it. Truckstream might have it. It's a wild get. It's a wild goal for Truckstream. We'll see if Truckstream happens. But now it's going to be quiet. Dogstream. Shh. Strawberry, not yet.
All right. And as you get to your seats, please have a seat. Welcome back. We're into the second half of the day. I was telling
Thank you,
attorneys
Wing.
time seems to be flying today, but maybe that's from my
19 more
side, not
yellows
necessarily
together.
from your side.
Truckstream.
Were you all able to follow the instructions and not to discuss the case with anyone, not to see any media? What was that?
She's fine. She said yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. It almost sounds like a song. All right. So I'm going to turn now to Mr. Dean.
Cross-examination. As soon as Dean
I
finishes.
think I had finished my direct examination.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you didn't have some last questions you wanted to ask.
If I had, I would have won.
Okay, Mr. Dean. Thank you. Mr. Hilliard.
Thank you, Judge.
Well, just time out for 1 second here. Before we can get anywhere near the cross-examination, before we let this guy run amok on us and make us question whether or not there's any smart people left in the world, we know there's one one outstanding shining beacon on a hill, and that man is Sonia Chris. Sonia Chris has just gifted 20 Legal Vices memberships. And if you're scrolling through and your name just popped up as getting a gifted membership from Sonia Chris, make sure you give him a super special thanks. Super mega based. Exactly, D What. Thank you so much for that. D What. And coming in on his heels, Shelby Fogg with the cute little puppers in the profile. I need doggos for this. We got doggos. We now have reached not day 62. We have now, in one fell swoop, got ourselves through to day 63. Go away, day 62. It is day 63 of the Emotional Support Potato Pig Dogs, due to your super amazing, wonderful kindness and generosity, all of you in chat, and Sonia Chris in particular dropping the 20, and Shelby Fogg for needing the doggos for this. And the other ones we've had so far today, Winks, Fly on the Wall, Here for the Truth, and Matilda, thank you so much. It is time for day 63 in a row. If you can't already hear her, she is saying she wants to be let out. So for day 63, the 63rd day in a row, keeping the streak alive, it's that time. Time to issue the command to
Release the hounds.
And releasing the hounds we have done for day 63. Keeping the streak alive. Keep the streak alive. There we go. Thank you so much, everybody. There's Strawberry being a little needy. I guess we can't call her a bitch because she's a little female doggy, isn't she? So, all right, let's get on to the cross-examination. Thank you so much, everybody.
Snider, how you doing?
Good, sir. Yourself.
Pretty good, I guess. Some of the questions I have to be able to is just to kind of get straight in my mind. You're in the Marine Corps, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. How long in the Marine Corps?
I had approximately 8 years active duty, and I just retired as a reserve officer about 2 years ago.
Thank you for your service, Agent Snider. And then you went into the FBI, correct?
That's correct.
And how long have you been there?
18 years.
Okay. And during that 18 years, what is the bulk of what you've done there?
We're a small office here in Savannah. So for the 15 years I've been in Savannah, I've worked a little bit of everything from violent crimes against children to both international and domestic terrorism. And then for the past 10 years,
Happy birthday to Trevor,
the FBI's
wife.
Happy
Happy
Task Force.
Welcome to the 5-0 Club.
And that's for the last 10 years, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Does it have a cool acronym? Southeast Georgia Violent Crime Task Force? That's a mouthful.
Take the first letter of every one of those words, and that's the acronym.
Okay. How would you say that then?
I wouldn't even want to, hazard a guess.
All right. So when you got involved in this particular case, you pretty much were involved on October 5th, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And on October 5th, what exactly did you do on October 5th?
October 5th started out with a call to Detective Lemons to determine whether or not Chatham County needed the FBI's assistance.
No, I don't mean a rehash of what you've already said you did. I mean, your actual involvement. Did you conduct interviews on October 5th?
Rehash what he already said.
So on October 5th, did you conduct any interview on October 5th?
Conducted multiple interviews on October 5th.
And who did you interview on October 5th?
October 5th, specifically the defendant, I think on 2 separate occasions, 2 interviews with the defendant. I did not speak with Paul on October 5th, but I did speak with Danny at some point on October 5th as well.
Oh, my pen's
What
running out.
did you do? Don't tell us what you did.
So on October 5th, you spoke with Ms. Simon at least twice. You did not speak with Paul, but you did speak with Danny, correct?
That's correct.
And you spoke with Danny again on October 6th or 7th or both?
I don't recall exactly. There were multiple times. I had telephone conversations with Danny, but I know for sure I spoke with Danny on October the 7th.
Okay. So maybe on the 6th, but 7th for sure.
Absolutely.
And how about Ms. Simon? You speak with Ms. Simon on the 6th or 7th or no?
I don't think so. I think it was October 5th primarily.
All right. And October 7th was the day you got permission from Danny to wire the hotel room, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And I assume the hotel room was over there off the Chatham Parkway, from what my understanding was. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think it was over there off Chatham Parkway, wasn't it?
That's correct.
Okay. And you said you had, how was the room wired up?
I wasn't involved specifically in that aspect of we have a team that handles that. I just know that we had a room that we had rented adjacent to that room where we were able to live monitor on a video feed. Again, almost like a hotel room as an adjoining door, that type of setup. And we had both audio and video in that room to hear what's going on.
And so you're in one room next door, videotaping and audio taping everything. They're in the other room living their life, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And Danny knew that it was being recorded, correct?
Absolutely.
And Miss Simon did not, correct?
She did not.
Okay. And how long did that recording last?
Less than 24 hours. I think we had it. They stayed the evening there and they checked out the following day. So I don't know the exact number of hours that we had it, but it was less than 24.
So 10/7 to 10/8 maybe?
Approximately.
Or 10/8 to 10/9, whatever it was, somewhere in that time frame. Is that correct?
I would have to look at a report to verify that, but I don't know the exact date. No, sir.
The date's not important. The point is for that time period, it was pretty much around the clock surveillance, correct?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
And he also gave you permission to tap his phone, correct?
That's correct. He did.
And how long did that last?
It was at least 30 days. I think we did one renewal, so it may have been for a 60-day period. But again, there was another agent that was handling the administrative aspects of that. I believe it was possibly 60 days.
Okay. Oh, and I'll ask, did you review the video and audio tape of the hotel room?
Just excerpts of that. Again, there were multiple facets to this investigation, and that's not something that I personally did, was review that particular video.
So you saw excerpts, but you didn't watch the whole thing?
That's correct.
I assume anything of any importance or what you deem relevant, you would look at it, correct?
Not necessarily. The agent that was responsible, for that would have reviewed that and highlighted that.
Who was the agent that was responsible for that?
I believe that was Special Agent Solomon that had that responsibility.
All right, so Solomon was the one who was ahead of that particular
That's correct.
endeavor, correct?
Yes.
Right. And Danny's phone, who was the special agent in charge of that one? You or was that Agent Solomon as well?
The particular aspects, so both Agent Solomon and myself obtained the consent, from Mr. Youngkin to get the authorization to wiretap that phone. But the day-to-day monitoring of that phone was Special Agent Solomon's responsibility.
Okay, and that's fine. So Solomon basically watched the video and audio from the hotel room and reviewed the tap on phone, correct?
That's correct. Again, not solely her responsibility. There were, multiple, people reviewing that, but primarily it fell on her shoulders.
Okay, and that's fine. So, but you did interview Danny on the 5th, maybe the 6th, but definitely the 7th, correct?
That's correct. And again, I had, in between those times, I had multiple telephone conversations with Danny as well.
All right. And
He has a Sean Hannity haircut.
do you recall
He's
the
a
conversation
Fed.
and the interview you had with
Blowy.
Danny on October 5th?
You have to give me more clarification on that, sir.
Well, in preparation for trial, have you reviewed that interview with him?
Which particular interview, sir?
The first interview you had with Mr. Youngkin.
I'm sure I have at some point.
Okay. And do you remember when he said there was nothing weird about her going to Arkwright Drive in that interview?
Not specifically, but again, she provided that information in the interview that I was present for, that she had been to Arkwright Drive 100 times or more.
Okay. Did he ever say that he had gone to Arkwright Drive?
I don't know that Danny had mentioned that to me, but we do know through the course of the investigation that Danny accompanied her. Either he was driving or the defendant was driving on the numerous occasions that they traveled to Arkwright Road.
Did he ever talk about going out there by himself?
Not that I recall, no, sir.
Did he ever admit to going out there by himself, to the best of your knowledge? To you, at least.
Not that I recall.
This is a really ineffective attempt by the defense lawyer to cast doubt, to put doubt in the minds of the jurors that Danny went out on that road too. Danny's been out there a few times. Danny's been out there alone. Maybe Danny did it while she was sleeping. That's what he's trying to do, and it just ain't working. Sorry, defense lawyer.
Now, in that initial interview, do you remember him saying that he was awake when she got back from Arkwright?
Yeah, I'm going to object on hearsay grounds to I'd let it be slide. Any further questions about what Danny did or didn't say? And he's testified at this point.
Mr. Hood?
Your Honor, it's not hearsay. He's already testified, okay? This is the agent that conducted the interview. I have the absolute right on cross-examination to talk about the inconsistencies in Danny Youngkin's statements to him versus what he testified here in court. So whatever issue he has, it's not hearsay, number one. Danny's already testified this. Number two, the agent has the right to testify as to his recollection. If he doesn't recollect it, great, we move on. But if he does, it's proper cross-examination question, Judge.
Mr. Dean?
I just don't think
Wasn't this the same guy that was all up in arms and freaking out about talking objections? Like, I object to talking objections. He just gave a damn speech. Holy crap.
that's a proper reading of the current rules of evidence that have been in place for the last 10 years or so. If there was something that Mr. Youngkin was confronted with while he was up there and given it a chance to confirm, deny, explain, then it would be a proper subject for testimony by another witness. But if not, you can't just ask another witness what a witness who testified previously said just because they testified.
Before we go any further into the weeds in this argument, I'm going to allow you leeway to go ahead and ask these questions. I'm overruling the objection.
Thank you, Judge. So, Agent Snider, do you remember Danny saying that he, at 3:30 when he got up to feed Sky, that Quentin was okay? And he saw him?
I don't recall that, no, sir.
Okay. Do you remember him saying at 5:30 that Quentin was okay?
I do recall Danny saying that on October the 5th. But in the October the 5th interview, it was unfathomable to Danny, that something like this had taken place. So while Danny did on October 5th during that interview mention that he did indeed see Quentin, we further went down that path with Danny on multiple occasions, specifically October 7th. And he could not recall seeing Quentin as he walked out of that bed that morning. It was a rush that morning. He was late for work. The positioning of his bed.
Your Honor, at this point in time, I'm going to object. It's non-responsive to the question I asked, number one. He's basically giving a narrative to what was basically a yes or no question. I understand he's trained to do that, but it's still improper.
No.
The general proposition that the witness is allowed to finish his answer. Mr. Youngkin is the one that's inviting all this testimony about out-of-court statements made by Daniel Youngkin. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, as nobody says anymore.
Thank you, Mr. Dean. Special Agent, you do speak in paragraphs. So, Mr. Hilliard, ask your question. Agent, answer the question.
Isn't it true on October 5th that Danny Youngkin stated that he had glanced in the crib at 5:30 and Quentin was okay?
That's what he said on October 5th.
Okay. Now, isn't it also true that he also said he was the one that texted the babysitter that the kids were staying home that day, correct? On October 5th.
Danny did state that on October the 5th.
Okay. Now, do you remember during the conversation where Danny got angry and said that he needed to drink?
Could you please restate that one, please, sir?
I will. Do you recall him stating that he's having a bad day, it feels weird, and that he drinks all the time and needed a drink to even himself out?
And what date was that, sir?
October 5th, I believe. If you don't remember, that's fine.
I'm going to ask, why is defense asking these questions?
No,
No, Mr. Dean.
Mr. Hilliard, but
that's see, even now wait a minute. There wasn't even an objection there, was it? It's the judge just stepping in going, what the hell? I backed up. I don't know what I said. I was too busy plugging in my sign back there. Let's watch that again.
Drink.
Could you please restate that one, please, sir?
I will. Do you recall him stating that he's having a bad day, it feels weird, and that he drinks all the time and needed a drink to even himself out?
And what date was that, sir?
October 5th, I believe. If you don't remember, that's fine.
I'm going to ask, why is defense asking these questions?
All right, so there you go. I was right. I thought maybe while I was looking back there, hooking up the sign, that I missed an objection or something. But this is the judge finally stepping in, going, "Dude, where are you going with this? Why are you asking these questions? What is the point?" So good for you, Judge. Yes, that is a bad sign. Daily Quick Bites when the judge says, "Why the hell are you asking this crap?" Exactly. So good for the judge, and Finally, it happened about 6 days too late, but because that's all he's done with any of these witnesses, essentially, is just ask random stuff.
Well,
No, Mr. Dean.
you might have Mr. Hilliard monologize on his theory of the case in the presence of the jury.
Approach.
I'll do it if he will, Judge, I promise. If he'll refrain from doing it, I'll be glad to.
No, y'all approach the bench. The other
Uh-oh.
attorneys come to you.
The judge is going to give him a talking to. The judge is judge is unhappy now. I promise I won't do it if he doesn't do it. He's doing it so I can. Get up here, boys. We got to have a talk. Little judge on lawyer action here. And she gets to listen in on the sidebar. She looks confused as to what they're saying. Ooh, it's a long one. Yeah, he tried not to go up there. He told her no. And the judge is like, no, I'm the judge. You're going to come on up here. Ooh, this is a long one. Uh-oh. All right, there we go.
Okay, we're back on the record now at the sidebar. Mr. Hilliard?
Yes.
All right, Agent Snider. So let's go back to October 7th meeting with Mr. Youngkin. Okay. So you set up, did the hotel and the wiretap, right? And then that all went into place that night or the next day, whatever it says.
The next day.
Right. Whatever it says in the paperwork is what it did, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so did you conduct any surveillance other than those two things of the parties?
In what aspect, sir?
Well, I mean, we know that you had the audio and the video in the hotel room. We know that you had Mr. Youngkin's phone tapped. We know that you already pulled all of the phone records at that point, correct? Did you ever pull any, and you may or may not have.
Yeah, I noticed that, Katie.
Did you ever put any of the other family members
like
under
3
surveillance or anything
pages.
like that?
We placed a pole
Jack, don't go.
camera on a telephone pole outside the
Don't go,
residence,
Jack.
of the defendant.
Okay. And that's at 535 Buckhalter?
That's correct. That's right.
How long was that there?
I couldn't tell you for sure, sir. It was 30 days at the most.
Now, during the interview that we just saw with Miss Simon,
No, you didn't.
you kept making
You did not,
statements of
Jack.
her. Some of those
Stop
statements were
it.
true, but not all of those statements were true, were they?
You'd have to.
Point you to the inconsistent or
Exactly.
incorrect statements? Well, one of the things you said was that Paul says something entirely different than what you do. Okay. What was it that Paul said that was entirely different? I don't recall.
Yes, I think the clear piece there is Paul told the truth.
Well, that's
We can ban people from chat. I wish we could prevent people from leaving. Jack, don't you leave. Don't you leave, Jack. You stay right here. Everybody stay here. Nobody leave. We need you all. The Vice Squad needs everyone. It's all for one and one for all. And what? Does that bottle say life water? This bottle here says like life water. The water of life. That's whiskey. Hey, they're drinking whiskey in court. The life water down here in the bottom right hand corner it says life WTR life water. All right, whatever. Huh. All right, let's continue.
you do. Okay. What was it that Paul said that was entirely different? I don't recall.
Yes, I think the clear piece there is Paul told the truth.
Yeah.
Well, that's your answer, but I asked you a specific question. What was an item of information that Paul said that LEILANI didn't say?
He didn't get pizza.
Yeah, again, throughout the course of the investigation, Paul told the truth, and the defendant didn't tell the truth.
Your Honor, that's a non-responsive answer. Please instruct the witness to answer the question.
Agent, if you would please listen to the question and as best you can answer the question.
You made a statement that Paul said something entirely different than LEILANI Simon in the interview we just watched. What was that piece of information that was completely different?
Objection. Sure, sir. I can elaborate if the court would like me to.
You can elaborate.
Did you understand?
Steve? Sure.
Wow, defense lawyer was just being a dick there. That was just dickish. That was grade A dickishness. Petulant little child. There's times and places for lawyers to act like that. There's a time to be the challenging, condescending, mean, grumpy law guy. This witness isn't that time. Please direct him to answer the question. That furrowed brow and crinkled forehead. This ain't the time for that. But that's the road he went down. I mean, I'm not saying he can't do it. It just looks so bad. It just looks so darned bad. Bad? I was gonna say bad and ridiculous. So yeah, they're absolutely allowed to, but is this the hill he wants to die on? Apparently it is. He's got to get his petulantness, I guess. He's got to get his petulantness out while he can.
Agent Snider, isn't it a common interrogation technique to use half-truths or complete falsities in order to try and induce a defendant to make a statement to you?
That's correct. We do that through the course of our investigations.
And isn't it?
There you go. I like the Fed. Right up. So that was the whole. See, he could have just asked the question that way. Not. You said there was a big difference, but there was a huge difference between what this person said and what this person said. What was that difference? Oh, he's direct him to answer. So all he had to do was stand up and do what he just did right now. Go. Isn't it true that you lied to people as part of your investigation? And to me, petulosity, that sounds good. See, to me, rather than saying, well, this person said this, and then you said there was a huge difference with what this person said. What is that difference? That to me is much weaker than saying, isn't it true that you lied to people during the course of your investigation? That sounds more strong to me. That sounds stronger to me. But of course, everybody knows that law enforcement people can lie during investigations, and it's a standard part of their techniques. And he's like, hell yeah, we lie. Of course we lie.
And also an interrogation technique that you will try and put stress and strain on them along the way to try and induce them to make a statement to you?
That is a technique.
Okay. And stirring up those emotions and keeping them in emotional turmoil is a fairly common interrogation technique, is it not?
That can be a technique that's utilized, yes.
Okay. And is that the technique you employed here?
The video speaks for itself.
Okay. And so you're saying that was not the technique you employed here then?
Using the video
Specifically, the technique used in this one was something we refer to as a SUE, and that's the strategic use of evidence to get to the facts of the investigation.
Well, let's talk about that. You had multiple interviews with Ms. Simon, correct?
Multiple, yes, sir.
And I guess it's safe to say that many of them were similar to this one, correct?
They were, yes, sir.
Okay. And the one thing is through all of those interviews, she's never admitted to harming her child in any way, correct?
I wouldn't say that's 100% correct, no, sir.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Did she say that she shot her kid?
She did not, no, sir.
Did she say that she stabbed her kid?
She did not, no,
Did she
sir.
say that she strangled her kid?
No, sir, she did not.
Did she say that she beat her kid with a blunt object?
At no point in time did she say she committed a violent act.
Okay. So that was a consistent statement throughout all of the strategic use of evidence. She's never made that statement to you or anyone else, correct?
That's correct.
Let's talk about the
she's
hotel
innocent
camera.
then.
So you have the hotel camera. You say that Danny was aware of it. She was not. Did she ever make any statements to Danny in that hotel room like that?
Again, I didn't review 100% of that video, so I couldn't 100% answer that with accuracy.
All right, well, then let's back it up. Did Agent Solomon tell you it was a relevant portion for you to look at and send it to you?
I don't recall, no, sir.
Was that something you would normally recall if you got?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you didn't get it. It wasn't sent to you, right?
That's correct, yes, sir.
All right. Same thing. You had tapped his phone for 60 days at least And I assume you got all relevant text, phone calls, or intercepts from LEILANI Simon to Danny Youngkin, correct?
We got every call that came into Danny Youngkin's phone, both incoming, outgoing calls, just as your phone would obtain those calls. We received every call that came into Danny Youngkin's phone.
And did you review those calls, or were you told the relevant portions of those calls and text with the defendant?
I don't recall the exact number, but you can imagine in a 30 to 60 day period, there were hundreds of calls. So no, I did not review every call, but there were pertinent calls that we do have.
Okay. Any of those pertinent calls say, I harmed my child, or I did this to my child?
Not that I recall, no, sir.
Okay. And again, this is after 60 days of around-the-clock monitoring, correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Now, I'm going to talk to you about the interview that we just watched again, and what's a perk 30?
It's a opioid narcotic, commonly used following minor to major surgeries as a painkiller.
Okay. It's like when you say opiate, is it like Oxycontin or something like that? I mean, I don't know what it is. I'm asking you because you'll know more than I will. But what exactly would a common name be that we know about?
Percocet.
I'm not exactly sure. I know it's a combination of like an acetaminophen, so a Tylenol-based drug, in conjunction, with an opioid, a fentanyl, type drug. So it's a lesser degree of a fentanyl, drug.
That sounds really bad.
Right. And I assume coke.
I like how he makes a common normal drug that everybody uses sound really horrible. I mean, it's true, but he's basically like, yeah, she's doing fentanyl. I got to give points to the FBI agent here for overemphasizing the drug. Nice. You ask the question, counselor, you get the answer. Well, I don't know. What else can you tell? He should have just said thank you. What else can you tell about this drug? It's fentanyl, which of course, has. That was a good question and a great answer. I like that.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Do you have any knowledge of what the effect of a perk 30 is on somebody if they take it? If you don't, that's fine.
No, I think the defendant explained that herself.
Okay. And what was that effect then?
Best I can recall from seeing the video that you watched was a drunken state, a loopy state. The specific pill that she took had a delayed reaction, she said. I couldn't explain past that.
And that's fine. You might not know. What about cocaine?
What she was doing in the perk, taking the Percocet, the cocaine, and marijuana, commonly referred to on the street, if you will, as speedballing. And those three drugs were what she admittedly was on that night.
Does cocaine put you to sleep, or is it more of a stimulant?
Again, I couldn't tell you, for sure, but it's my understanding that it affects people in different ways. Some individuals, it acts as a stimulant, and some individuals it does put to sleep.
Correct.
Based upon your experience and training, okay, what have you been trained that the effects of it are?
Dude, depends.
Again, as I disclosed in an interview, I'm not a narcotics agent, but I can tell you, what she said, what I've heard from other individuals, and that's all I can tell you.
What I can tell you is that D What just dropped a 20 on Cash App. Let's get this started. Woot woot. D What dropping the 20. We'll count that as a yellow or above. We're 3 yellows into our 20 for Trucker Stream. 17 more yellows in the next 40 minutes. That's not going to happen. But we'll have the same goal up tomorrow if we fail. We can try again tomorrow, but we're still 17 yellows away from Trucker Cam. Thank you, D. What? Appreciate that. Thank you for dropping the Cash App. And let's get back to the thrashing of the FBI guy here is much better at answering questions than defense lawyer is at asking them. I mean, just straight up.
Was I correct that I may have misheard it, but on the interview that we just watched, did Ms. Simon say that Missy had smoked weed or done drugs, something of that point? It was a very fleeting thing. I may have misheard it. I'm just asking you if you recall something like that.
Was that do anything?
I do recall that. That was about midway through this October the 12th interview, where I allowed her to continue to tell the same story that she had told over and over and over about the orgel. And when we confronted her on that the first time, she tried to, say, well, the reason that she probably doesn't remember that is because she smokes crack.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was a great answer.
Defamation of character to a young lady who wasn't even involved in this entire process.
Again, Your Honor, I asked the witness to please answer the question and not
He did.
proselytize.
He answered the question
Not
quite well.
responsive.
It was very
I'm gonna
responsive.
say two things. One, he's answering the question. I'm going to ask you not to go any further than you need to.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
See, even just no, he's answering your question. He just answered it longer than you wanted. He just gave you a much more detailed answer than you wanted. But by the way, Fed, all right, rein it in just a little bit. So hey, I like this judge. She's good. Good judge.
Agent Snider,
She tends to take the Solomon approach. We've seen her do that several times here, where this party wants this party wants this. So she finds somewhere in the middle. She's really good at coming up with reasonable and acceptable solutions to your common objection, you sustained or denied or overruled. So good for her. I like this judge a lot.
with Mr. Your investigation, I guess, in this case, you conducted interviews, you set up the landfill search, and you've been involved in it pretty much from the beginning, if I'm not, is that correct?
100%, yes, sir.
Okay. So when
Yes.
you said you only got the excerpts from the hotel and video, right? Of Danny and Leilani in the hotel? You were only given short pieces of video to watch, correct?
I've seen short clips of the video. That's correct, yes, sir.
And were you given daily summaries of what happened or summaries of what happened for that entire time frame? I know you didn't monitor it.
There was probably a point in time, where the case team got together and we discussed,
Okay.
that particular CCTV footage. That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay. And the only people that were in that hotel room, though, was Danny and Leilani, correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
I don't believe Zane or Sky were there, and I don't believe anybody else was there, correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
And Agent Solomon was the one who was in charge of that one, though, right?
That's correct.
Now, you also, I think that's all the questions I got, Judge. Leave it right there.
All right. He decided not to ask whatever question he wanted to ask.
Mhm.
I was kind of thinking something along those lines too.
All right, very good. So, shall this witness be
All right.
released?
No cross-examine, no redirect.
I'm thinking so, Judge. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You're excused. State may call its next witness.
All right. Who we got up?
I'll give a few moments too, Judge, if that's okay.
Okay, is it enough for a break? A few moments. Yes, let's let everybody have a minute. Y'all just stay right there, and we're gonna see where we are.
Well, it looks like a very long minute. Here we go. And I will use this break here. I'll use this break here for our midstream grift. Even though we're quite a bit past midstream, we're way past midstream, but hang tight, people. We got 309 concurrent viewers watching day 6 of 9 of the LEILANI Simon Toddler in a Dumpster murder trial. We'll finish up day 6 tomorrow and probably get into a little bit of day 7. Then we're in day 8 and 9 and we're done with this and we're going to move on. And to help us decide what we're going to look at when we move on, take our like and subscribe poll. We've got 260 votes and 200 likes. Come on, people. We need 100 likes while I'm doing this. We're going to take like a 2-minute break here right now and Get us up to 300 likes. Why not? Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you've already subscribed, please double check to make sure you're still subscribed to me, Legal Vices, the #1 best, most influential, greatest lawfluencer on YouTube. If I do say so myself. And then take our like and subscribe poll. Our like and subscribe poll today is, what do we do next after this trial? Because we're coming up on the end here. About another week and a half, we should be wrapping this up. What do we look at? Do we go back to Judge Grudge, the judge who formerly presided over the What the Hales mess? Judge Grudge. We don't care about the What the Hales drama and all that stuff that's going on. We care about the judge, the old Judge Grudge. He's Judge de Thomas. He's a weird one. He's a goofy one. He's got some other things going on. We can look at the latest developments in Judge Grudge, the tonsil twins with Laura Owens, Clayton Eckert, the tonsil pregnancy, David Gingras. She's filed her appeals. We got a lot to look at there. Maya Kowalski. The appeal's been filed, as I understand. There's a big document to look at there. And court cam reactions. Currently, it's almost even, except for people want court cam reactions. That's interesting. That's leading with 33. In second place, 26% Judge Grudge, 21% Maya Kowalski, and only 20% of you want to hear tonsil twins drama. Cool. All right, that's interesting. We shall proceed with however this turns out is what we will do next after this trial is over. Let's see. All right. The last thing I want to do before we jump back into this is to bring your attention to a little something here. To our good friend and pseudo semi-sponsor of the program, the Dragon's Treasure Tea. If you like tea, this is the place for you. If you don't like tea, this is the place for you. Many people, including internet sensation Steph the Alter Nerd, I turned her onto the Dragon's Treasure Tea. She said, I don't like tea. And I said, give it a shot and we'll see. Now she loves the Dragon's Treasure Tea. So let's talk a little bit here. Go to thedragonstreasure.com and you'll see that our good friend, the Tea Man, has around 100 different teas. He's got handmade soaps. He's got coffee, other tea-related products, the infusers, and he sells all these teas bagged or loose leaf. It's he's an anime fan, so it's sort of where anime meets tea. He has cleverly named products, designed, influenced, inspired by anime characters, anime shows, and whatnot. We have the pumpkin tea, spice tea, the one that I was going to order yesterday, but I forgot because I was too tired, which I am going to order today, the new creamsicle tea. That sounds really, creamsicles are my vice. Candy apple, one of my favorite teas he makes. Death's God apple tea. That sounds really delish. I've never had it. But as you can see, these all come in their own different blends, and he hand blends these, each of them by himself, weighs them, measures them. You can give them to you in loose leaf fashion. He can give them to you in tea bag fashion. And if you're not sure what you want, you can just look. Well, let's see what we have. Pirate rum. We have pirate rum tea here. Well, you get your little anime picture there with your pirate's rum. You click on that. It'll tell you what is in this tea. It's white tea. It's flavored tea. The ingredients are white tea, rum flavoring, coconut flavoring, and key lime flavoring. That actually sounds really good. Damn, might have to get some of that. And again, you can go to any other tea for his featured tea. Oh, let's see what's happening. Hug in a mug. That sounds very Christmassy. Hug in a mug. It's got what do we got? Ingredients: honeybush tea, apple pieces, cinnamon, cocoa nibs, natural banana flavor, natural chestnut flavor, and marigold flowers. And he tells you how to brew it. You know, how much to use, how long to infuse it, how long to boil the water, how many times you can reuse the same tea, 1 to 2 times. And it's basic brewing skill level 1. And so all you have to do is go there and find the tea that you want. If you select teas over here, at all teas, it'll give you all the teas he has. Just go down the entire list. He's got 7 different pages of Christmas in a Cup. That's a really good tea. I had that a couple years ago. I've had so many of these teas, and they're so good. And he's also got soaps. He's got handmade soaps, handmade coffee, and I guess hand roasted coffee. And the Dio coffee is my favorite. I love the Dio coffee. But he's got the 6 different types of coffees available to you, along with the soaps and the teas. Now, here's where it's good for you: for Christmas, for yourself, to give to the neighborhood, to give to your family members, whatnot. If you order $125 or more, it's free shipping domestically in the U.S. or internationally. So if you live in another country and you spend more than $125, you will get free shipping, which is a big deal if you're like me and you live in another country and it's $40 to $50 to have anything sent to you internationally. Now, what you also want to do is when you make that order, use code VICES. Code VICES will get you 10% off. So you can get 10% off. You can get free shipping. And that 10% off is a win-win-win. You get the 10% off. He gets a sale. I must admit, I get a little bit of a kickback, which I get to apply to buying more tea. I drink a lot of coffee in the summer. I tend to drink more tea in the winter. I don't know why. It's just more soothing, and you can just sit there and just sip on the nice flavored teas and things. But anyway, go over to our good friend, thedragonstreasure.com. Select some teas you want to try. You can get them in little 20 grams. You can get up to 100 grams, as much as you want, as little as you want. Have some samples. Use code VICES and get 10% off. thedragonstreasure.com. Great friend of the show, semi-pseudo sponsor, and an amazing human being. Go there, check him out. He's also developing a video game, which we might have to talk about someday. But thank you very much for putting up with me here through the midstream grift. Let's get back to our court, shall we? Thank you very much again, everybody. Appreciate that. And go get yourself some tea.
We'll give Mr. Hilliard a minute to come in. Was he in the hallway?
No, he's in the back.
It's fine. No, it's fine. Give him a minute. You can bring Miss Simon out.
All right, bring Miss Simon out. Let's get on with it.
The courtroom right now. I think there are probably a couple of matters that we need to take up. So who's going to go first?
Are we still
Mr. Dean,
1.25?
let's start with you.
Yep.
I'll go first.
Mr. Hilliard.
First thing is, Judge, I was not able to speak with the Westons. I don't know if they're here or not. I don't know if we're going to get to them today. But I did attempt. I didn't see them in the hallway. And that's a question for the state to deal with. But I would like to speak with them before they testify. And that has not occurred yet. And that's the first issue. The second issue is we may have something else to deal with. We just have to wait and see if it happens or pops up. Mr. Dean brought 2 boxes of materials up here. While I suspect it's probably items that have already been introduced to evidence, what I also suspect is he has individual copies made with the jurors. I don't know if he's going to try and do that versus publishing them on the screen. We'll deal with that when we get to it. That's just my assumption. I don't know. So,
Well, why don't you ask him before you say dumb shit?
Go ahead.
We do have, Your Honor, an individual copy for each juror of State's Exhibit 77. I can bring one up for the court.
If you would.
And I can explain why we're doing it this way. These are photographs of Quentin's remains as recovered from the.
Yeah, we don't want to see that on the
November
screen.
18th. I intend to introduce these into evidence through the testimony of Special Agent Solomon. There was a moment earlier in the trial where I put some kind of blurry pictures of the remains as they appeared to Dr. Christensen at the lab up on the screen. I didn't mean to do that. Well, I meant to do it, but I forgot that I intended not to. In any case, those pictures were kind of blurry and difficult to make out. These are higher quality and a little more graphic, and I don't want to put these on the screen. So we choose the manner in which we publish individual exhibits to the jury, and the way that we've chosen to do this is make an individual binder for each juror so that we don't have to display these remains on a TV screen.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know that sounds like maybe there's an objection to that practice, that procedure coming. I don't know if it's been
Well, let me just
raised yet.
ask for first information. So I see the photographs. Would these photographs show on the screen, or can you do that digitally? I know the first few that you showed with the earlier witness were a little on the blurry side. That's one question. I guess the other
I
is,
think that
when you publish, you want to, when you ask to admit these and when you publish, you want to give them a book.
that's right. Once the witness has identified and authenticated the exhibit and has been introduced into evidence, I would then distribute a copy to each juror and then ask the witness a couple questions about them and then give them a few moments to peruse the rest of them themselves. I do not have those images in my digital trial exhibits folder, specifically because of the way I had intended to do this.
Okay. Mr. Hilliard?
Well, we do object to it. I understand the concern about putting it on the TV screen, but my concern is about handing an individual binder as well. I mean, like Mr. Dean said, the graphic pictures are also cumulative other exhibits that are already committed. So my opinion is, after seeing this is the first time I've ever made this objection, so I don't do it lightly. I just think it's meant to inflame the jury. I think it's meant to inflame the passions of the jury. And Mr. Dean is correct 9 times out of 10. He gets to pick the manner and method by which something is published to the jury. But this is one of those things where I think the whole point behind it is to inflame the jury, is to make the jury feel a certain way by showing them graphic pictures, which Mr. Dean said, and I couldn't agree with him. So I understand why he's doing it. I just object to it. I think that this is one of those things where, to be sensitive, it can be published, it can be admitted into evidence. I understand that. I don't really have a valid legal objection for that. But as far as the publishing goes, I think it's just my preference. It shouldn't be on the screen. It probably shouldn't go over the TV. And it's one of those things that they can introduce it and then pass it down and let each one individually see it. Like I said, it's just, I think it's done to inflame the jury, to prejudice the defendant.
By TD, what? TheDragonsTreasure.com.
It's duplicative, it's cumulative, and it's meant to inflame the passion of the jury.
May I respond?
You won't regret it.
It's not duplicative of anything. These are photographs that were taken in Savannah before transport. That's different from what was taken at the lab in Quantico. It's not intended to inflame the passions of the jury. It's intended to show them the evidence in the case. I'm familiar with the autopsy photo case law, the crime scene photo case law, and all that law is about. It's really about the blood for the most part. Blood and being able to see eyeballs and things like that of deceased people, and viscera. And in that sense, these are far less graphic than those types of photos the courts sometimes take issue with. To me, it is more a matter, I shouldn't say it's more a matter of just reverence for the subject matter, that I didn't want this on national television. That's why I've done it this way. Now, it seems like the objection has kind of been distilled down to the question of whether it's one binder passed around versus a binder for each. Well, I'm going to be asking the witness questions about just a couple of these photos. And the thing about juries is that there are 16 jurors, not just one. And so that's why we've made one for each of them. It's typical in a lot of courts for jurors throughout the trial to have a binder that contains every exhibit that's to be admitted in the trial. And then as they're admitted, they turn to the next tab. And that's how it's done in a lot of courts. There's no prohibition against this. And I guess I just don't totally understand the objection. Mr. Hilliard has now conceded that he thinks they're admissible, that he thinks they can be published, that he thinks it's appropriate not to put them on the screen. We've kind of gotten down to how many binders is the jury going to get? And given that I'm going to be asking the witness to describe a couple things in these pictures, they all need to have their own. Unless we want to bring them out of the box and have them huddle around one binder, and I just don't see the point of that.
Well, or you could consider publishing it as you publish other evidence on the screen, and we can instruct the cameras not to show the screen.
Well, I can't do that now because I didn't bring them over digitally. I mean, we made our exhibits the way we made them, and honestly didn't. If we're talking about prejudicial effect, then my question is, what is the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Like to have it on a 60-inch monitor versus the binder.
Mm-hmm. And one other question I have as well: is it your intention for the binders to go out to the jury room?
One of them. The clerk's exhibit, that's submitted will go out. We're not going to send them each back with their own one of these. It's strictly for the portion in which we're publishing this exhibit. And then we'll take them all up.
And then you'll post them.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And just to distill it down from this.
Sounds reasonable.
I agree with you. I don't have a legal objection to it, but there is a difference. Handing 16 people their individual binders with these graphic pictures in them.
Well, you lose as soon as you say, I don't have any legal argument, but he clearly didn't. He was too busy doing this trial, so he couldn't watch the Sarah Boone trial. Anytime the defense lawyer or even a prosecutor for that matter says, I don't have a legal argument, but you're done. you lost.
It's not the same thing as everyone seeing it at the same time on the screen as the witness testifies.
Kind of is the same thing though.
So it's not quite the same.
Whether they
thing.
see it on,
And that's the main basis.
or whether they
for
see it on
objection.
notebook, they're looking
You
at
have
it
it
at
on
the
the
same
screen, and the witness is testifying, saying, this is what we found, this is where we found it, this is what it is. Everyone's seeing and experiencing that at their own time and their own pace. Jurors with 16 different binders, flipping through at different times and different paces, are not having the same experience, number one. Number two, they are, and I agree with Mr. Dean to a certain extent, he's right, they're giving the autopsy photos and the viscera and the blood and all that. These are not like that, but by the same token, I don't care who you are. When you're looking at the remains of a 20-month-old child, that evokes a response from you.
Okay.
And so that's kind of why I think it's one of those, the TV doesn't need to see it, I agree with that, but I also don't think that 16 people need to have their own individual thing to come through. If the witness is going to testify and they're going to lay a foundation and they're going to do it, it should be on the screen, it should be one at a time, it should be a group experience. As an example, I will use videotape as testimony. We watch a videotape in here, if the 16 jurors go back and deliberate, or 12 jurors go back and deliberate, and there's a deliberate and have a question about a video, they all have to come out and they all have to sit and they all have to watch the exact same thing in the courtroom at the same time and have the exact same experience. It's not 12 different experiences, it's one experience and they can go back and deliberate. So to me, handing out the 16 different binders of this many pictures is going to have 16 different experiences while the witness is testifying. So I do think it's prejudicial. I do think that, like I said, normally I've never made this objection before, but I do see that as being a problem in this case. And I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to make it make the most sense I can. So.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to take that one under advisement for just a moment. The witness that you have for these exhibits, is that one of the witnesses that's coming next?
Yes, Your Honor, she's our next witness.
Okay. And as to, I'm going to go back to the Westons. So Mr. Hilliard got notice last night about the addition of these witnesses, although I know that they have had information about them throughout the discovery process. Are the Westons scheduled to testify today as well?
Your Honor, we don't anticipate calling them this afternoon right now. And before we do call them, of course, we'll give Mr. Hilliard an opportunity to talk to them officially.
And I anticipate, I can't speak for them, but I anticipate Ms. Solomon's probably going to be the bulk of the afternoon today anyway, which is fine. If they'll provide me the contact information for them, I can call them tonight. That way it doesn't go slow.
So I'm hearing the Weston issue is not an issue.
Not for
Not
today.
right now, Judge.
Okay, very well. Things are subject to change, but not for now. I'll take that. Okay, so the issue now is about the exhibits and how they'll be published. Give me a couple of minutes. Let's recess for about 10 minutes.
No, they both have very good points. They really do. One saying, look, I don't want to put this up on the screen. I just want to look at it. And those guys, well, it is a different experience. They can, they can linger on the pictures. Well, like Bridget was saying, where'd it go? Yeah, I get what he's trying to say. They could linger on a specific photo, et cetera, get emotions heightened. They could, they're looking through, they're not listening to what's being said. They're looking through, they're concentrating on that. So I get where both sides are coming from. And however the judge rules on this, I don't really have a particular problem with. I mean, they're both viable arguments. And again, even though it's not something that's legally problematic, but as the defense lawyer made, I don't have a legal argument against it, but so there we go. Let's skip forward 10 minutes here and see how the judge rules on this particularly interesting issue of how do they show the remains of a 20-month-old child. However it is, I hate this because that bar is right where their bar is and I can't see. Dang it. Let me see here. There we go. Goes right to the break. Right. That was easy. Back. Back. There we go. And begin and go. I hope that was your microphone, man.
Okay, so we're back on the record, SPCR 22-03364 J6. I took a few minutes to, first of all, review the exhibit, State's Exhibit 77. And I've come to this determination. obviously the material here is of evidentiary value.
Mm-hmm.
However, what I would like the state to do is to go through the exhibit and make sure there are no duplicates, one, and number two, that there's no exhibit here or picture here that's not been shown to be those of Quentin. I recognize one of the photos that the earlier anthropologist identified as, well, she identified it as material that was sent to her from the landfill, but that it was not bone. So she didn't make a determination about that. And also she stated that the gross amount of material that was transported from here to Quantico contained some material that was either non-human and not Quentin. So what I would like for you to do is go through and make sure that any photos like that are removed. And I want you to go through and make sure that each photo has its own evidentiary value. And then last, what I want to do is have you present each of these, I keep calling them exhibits. This is Exhibit 77. Each one of the individual photos within Exhibit 77, you'll present those to your witness and let them identify it and tell you the information that you believe to be relevant is. But the photos will go in individually. They won't be in a binder. I think the binder really does elevate this particular exhibit and makes it more special. And it's evidence the same as any other evidence today. So I'm going to ask you to go back through, make sure we pare it down and prepare it to go forward without the notebook. I will tell you, if you like to, you can do it that way, or you can do it on the screen. I know you're not prepared today to do it digitally.
I can do it on the screen, but I do need to respond to a couple of the
Sure.
portions of the court's order there. So first, I can say that there are no duplicate images in here. There are 66 images because they took 66 pictures.
Okay.
Those pictures were taken in Savannah. Now, I cannot, and nobody can, probably not even the forensic anthropologist, go through here and say which ones of the bones in these photographs were determined later at the lab to be human versus non-human and call them out here, because that's a determination that wasn't made until the bones were at the lab and each assigned their individual number. So if I were to hand that binder to Dr. Christensen, she could say, 28 TAC 1, I identified as not of human origin, but I didn't take these pictures. I can't tell you which one of these pictures 28 TAC 1 ended up being. So the only way to do this, and what we're trying to do here, is introduce this as an exhibit that represents all of the material that was collected and packaged on November 18 as suspected human remains and sent to Quantico for analysis. Beyond that, that is, I understand why the court has asked me to do that, but that is just simply not something that can be done with this exhibit because there's a determination that wasn't done until later by the witness that we've already heard from.
The non-human versus human.
Right. I mean, the whole point.
And I understand that.
So I can do it. I mean, I guess here's what I would propose. The exhibit marked is authenticated by the clerk or authenticated by the witness and introduced into evidence. So now we have one binder of evidence. In it, of that, I would publish 3 images. 3 images. And the way I can do it is I have them on my computer now. I could pull up 3 images digitally that are in that binder and have the witness talk about those 3 and what they appear to her to be. And what I'm doing here is just the ones that are most obviously human because she.
How about you just say what you're going to do?
And then be done with it. So that's how I would propose to do it.
Okay, so you'll publish 3 3 of the photos.
It's like 3 or 4, I think.
Okay.
Look, 3 people are giving each other a bunch of options. Somebody, the prosecutor's starting to just say, this is what I am going to do. And then if nobody has a problem with it, do it. We're wasting time here. This is like, if any of you are ADHD or borderline ADHD, it's like, there comes that point when you go, all right, we've talked about everything. We're talking about everything again. I understand the point. Now find the solution. Get to the solution. We know it's a problem. We all understand it's a problem. Now focus on the solution. Somebody have the balls to stop talking in theory and say, here's what I am going to do. So the judge can exactly Bush McFadden get on with it. Exactly. That's exactly what I wanted to say.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
I am enjoying this scene.
Get on with it.
That's yeah. So somebody just make a damn decision and run with it.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to hold you there. But the images, the 66 images that are in the binder, you would want those admitted into evidence.
It should all come into evidence because it is the evidence that was collected and it is the evidence that was transported. And then, it's the witness from Quantico has now testified that, like, not all, but something like 75 or 80% of those bones were identified as human. To me, I don't think that should stop us from putting in the full suite of pictures of everything that was collected that day and set up for that analysis. It's the evidence in the case.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dean. Mr. Hilliard?
So just understanding what Mr. Dean's proposing, because he wants to, and I agree. Those are all the pictures that were taken.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come in as a single exhibit. It's going to publish 3 photographs up there. And my second question is are we not going to broadcast those photographs? That's
No.
the only other really concern I had that wasn't addressed yet.
Okay, so your concern is that the images when shown on the video that they're not shown.
Right, at least not broadcast for
That's
that,
fine.
for that particular
I
portion.
don't have a problem with that, Mr. Dean.
I would support that.
So I think that resolves the issue as to these exhibits, if I'm understanding everything correct.
I already got a thumbs up.
So that works for me.
They'll divert the camera. Avert the camera. So, okay. So is there anything else that we need to take up? before
Finally, thank you.
in The jury.
Not for me, Judge.
No, you're right.
All right, very well. Please bring in the jury.
Good. See? All it takes is someone to go, this is what we're doing. Any problem
We're
with
going
it?
to start up testimony once again. Was everyone able to comply with the instructions?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. There goes that song again. Okay. All right, Mr. Dean.
Savannah Solomon.
Seeing how much time we got here left. You got about,
Perfect. Beautiful temperature. It's 80 degrees outside. Raise your right hand. The evidence you check in the court and the jury and the trial decision should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Good afternoon.
All right, could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Yeah, my name is Special Agent Savannah Solomon with the FBI.
And what?
hey, this is Savannah
I
in
work for
Savannah.
Savannah, a resident agency out of the Atlanta division.
This is Agent Savannah from Savannah. We like Agent Savannah from Savannah. Savannah.
How long have you been an FBI special agent?
For 6 years.
And can you tell us a little bit about your educational background before joining the FBI?
I attended Georgia Tech, where I majored in economics, international affairs, and French, and went straight to Tulane for my master's in business administration and finance and entrepreneurship. Following graduation, I joined the FBI as an analyst, where I worked in Charlotte and the Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force Fusion Center in Washington, D.C. before becoming an agent for 8 years.
Okay, so after working in Charlotte as an analyst, you went to the academy, I guess?
I went to Washington, D.C. at our headquarters for 3 years and then the academy.
Okay, and is Savannah, where you've been, Savannah, Georgia, I should say, where you've been the entire time as a full-fledged special agent?
That is correct.
You work closely with Brad Snider.
I do.
I want to ask you about your involvement in the case. Did you become involved on day one on October 5th?
I did.
And did you go to Chatham County Police Department headquarters and participate in an interview or some interviews?
I did.
What detective were you paired up with?
Detective Nobles.
And whom did you interview that day of the three that we've been talking about?
Daniel Youngkin.
Can you tell us about his level of cooperation in the day one interviews?
He was forthcoming in regards to items about Quentin. He minimized on drug use and was defensive of Leilani.
What do you mean by defensive about Leilani?
He believed anything that she had told him that day and was told us he believed it was true.
Didn't want to believe that she had done anything, basically.
Correct.
Can you tell us about his demeanor and tone in the interviews and his willingness to answer questions?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for opinion.
You're asking about the
What?
demeanor that she observed? I'm gonna.
I interviewed him twice that day, once around 1:30 in the afternoon and once around 11 p.m. So it was a long day. He was willing to answer questions. I'd say by 11 was pretty tired of any line of questioning.
Okay. After your, well, let me ask you this. At some point that day, did you go to the residence at 535 Buckhalter Road?
I did.
And where did that fit into your involvement at Chatham County Police Department headquarters that you've been talking about?
After my first interview of Danny, the group kind of reconvened on what had happened in the different interviews. And because there was no need to continue talking at that point, Taylor Burns and I drove to the Buckhalter Road residence to assist with the search.
Now, were you present when Chatham County Police Department forensics were photographing the residents and various outbuildings and things?
I was.
And did you go in the garage yourself?
I did.
I'd like to display an image from State's Exhibit 10. It's image 109 in State's Exhibit 10. And let me see whether I can get the screen to cooperate here.
Boomer.
First of all, what room or building are we in at that house right now?
This is the garage outbuilding beyond, like separate from the house and the pool area.
What is that red thing towards the bottom center of the picture?
That's a Mickey Mouse race car driver toy.
Is it like a stuffy kind of thing?
It is.
Okay. Can you describe how that thing looked to you?
What's
that
a
day?
stuffy?
As you can see, it's
Do you mean like a stuffed
just kind of thrown in
toy?
the garage with a bunch of tools and
Yeah,
covered in
okay.
cobwebs, and looks like it's been there for a minute.
Please don't call this stuffy. That's kind of
Was this
weird.
significant to you at the time?
It was
And why is that?
because Leilani had reported Quentin missing with his favorite toy, a Mickey Mouse toy.
And is that something that anybody else mentioned to you, him having a favorite toy, Mickey Mouse toy?
No, no one knew about a Mickey Mouse toy when I asked them about it.
Let me show you a video clip. At some point, did you have an exchange with the defendant while she was between interviews?
I did.
And can you tell us what was going on at that point? Like, where were you and where was she?
During the resident search, after
I've never heard it
we
called
had
a
gotten into
stuffy before.
nighttime, I was called back to
Stuffed
Chatham County
animal,
Police
stuffed toy,
because they
yes.
needed more people to escort the three individuals that were still there. So at that point, I was just sitting in the hallway with eyes on the different doors, and she was sitting in an interview room.
At some point, did she open up to you about some of her behavioral issues or anger issues?
She did.
I'm going to play for you a clip from State's Exhibit 13. It's a file bearing the file name Interview Room 2126 to 2229.
Need anything? Before we sit down for a little bit?
Okay.
Thank you so much for being patient with us. A lot of this is trying to work through and figure out. So, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Did I do well with that?
Yeah, I appreciate you.
As much detail as I could. I was being okay. This is who.
Okay, we've seen this video before. If you'll recall, they interrogated her for a bit. They said, we're going to leave you alone for a very long time. And during that time period, you need to write everything that happened that day. You need to be as detailed as possible. Don't leave anything that happened out. And she wrote it out. She said that's everything. And then it turned out it wasn't everything.
A lot of good detail in here.
Pardon me, this is the wrong I'm looking for interview room 20.
Never mind. Apparently, that's not the one he was. This is not the video you're looking for. Move along. Sorry, got a Men in Black flash all y'all. There we go. Forget everything that just happened. Boomer!
21 at 3.
That was really loud. Sorry.
Something so little just might happen. It's like a trigger. It's not. It's almost like I'm a completely different person. The way I talk, the way I move, the way I look at you, everything, even my tone of voice. You feel that happening? You know, try to play. When it happens, I finally reach a certain level of anger or stress or whatever it might be at that moment. That I just like a switch. Yeah. I don't even realize it until after I've calmed down that I just seriously tripped on you and treated you like that for a reason. You know, and then
Yeah. Oops. Again, that's not something that helps. In light of the, I don't know if I did it. I can't remember doing it. If I did do it, I'll take responsibility for it. Now we've got her here on tape saying, sometimes I just lose my shit and I basically black out and I don't even realize what I've done until after I've done it. Oops. Yeah, this does not help your case.
I'm not apologizing to everybody. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm crazy. I don't know what happened. I don't even know why I did that. And half the time when it happens or randomly happens like that, it's not like the slowly change.
Randomly happens.
Oh, whatever. It's because I don't even know how to explain it. If I'm doing pretty good throughout the day and I got a good day overall, and then something might trigger me, it's slower. Okay. I can feel it. I can feel myself changing the way I talk, the way I think, the opinions I have, everything. I can feel the difference. But when it happens, like they like today with the amount of stuff going on and stress and emotion, whatever.
So it's day on that day.
She's creepy and she's
Was there a
kooky.
point where you spent some
Mysterious
time
and
alone with the
spooky.
defendant in a setting that wasn't recorded?
She's
Yes,
all
it's something
together.
around that
Ookie.
time period.
Leilani
That's about it.
Simon.
Did it have something to do with a cigarette or something like that?
She needed a smoke break outside, so I walked out with her.
At some point during that interaction, maybe it was another one that day, did she say something to you about getting a tattoo?
Yes, she showed me her Hawaiian symbol tattoo about the waves going up and down and said that she wanted to get a tattoo in honor of Quentin along with it.
And this was on October 5.
It was.
She was talking about getting a tattoo with it.
That's
In honor.
weird.
Okay.
That's a red flag. When the mother of the child who's been missing for a couple of hours says that she wants to get a tattoo in honor of him. Hashtag yikes.
At this point in time, was she still kind of representing the story that Quentin had been abducted?
Yes.
Was anybody yet talking about Quentin being dead?
We suspected it within the investigative team, but it had not been discussed outside of the investigative team.
I'd like to ask you a couple questions about your involvement over the following days. Did you follow up in reference to Danny's workplace?
I did.
Can you describe that follow-up, please? Without talking about what anybody said to you, but what did y'all go out there to do?
Detective Noble and I met with Danny and Leilani's supervisor and spoke with him. He put us in touch with the corporate security who had video footage from the plant or the warehouse.
And did they turn footage around to you?
They did.
Why was it important to you to go out and talk to Danny's boss and to get video footage of what he looked like when he was leaving work?
We were doing our best to corroborate every single statement that had been made to us in the previous 24 hours to include how and when Danny learned that Quentin was missing.
How he reacted?
Correct.
I'd like to draw your attention to the defendant's October 8th interview with Bridget Rock at the FBI office in Savannah.
Okay.
Were you present for that?
Not in the interview room, but I was in the office out there observing.
How did you observe that interview?
Closed circuit television through the office.
Okay, so did you watch it as it was occurring?
I watched much of it as it was occurring. I was also watching Danny in a simultaneous interview.
Did you observe any unusual behavior by the defendant on that day with reference to Bridget Rock's belongings or anything?
We
I
all
did.
we
Agent
all
Rock
watched
had
it.
stepped out of the room, but the cameras were still rolling, and the defendant walked up to Miss Brock's computer system and unplugged it. And when it made a noise, she plugged it back in and sat back down.
Was there,
What?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
Sorry, that was after looking at the cameras and down the hallway.
Was there something about Richard Brock's notes as well that had been left on the desk?
Not that I observed.
Okay. That evening,
Unplugging the
October 8th,
computer. Good one.
That was the hotel surveillance operation.
It was
And how many nights did that go on for? Was it one?
one night.
Okay, just the one night. Were you involved in proposing that idea to Daniel Youngkin?
Yes,
And that would have been like the day before on the 7th?
it was.
Okay. Tell us about his reaction to that proposal.
The day he came to us, he was pretty broken in a lot of ways. He was still trying to figure out what he believed had happened. He was worried about his child, and was beginning to have conflicts between believing Leilani less, but also his loyalties to her, and was working through that. So when we got to the point of talking through a lot of his concerns there, he was willing, and actually was the one who said, are you going to want to wire up the hotel room? And we said, only with your permission. We wouldn't do that without your permission. So
Are you saying he guessed? I want to make sure I understand what you're saying.
we had it.
Were y'all planning to ask him that?
We were planning to ask him that. So we were going down that road, but he was the first one to address wiring the room.
Okay, so he's the one who brought it up even though you were about to?
Right.
Okay. Can you discuss briefly just the logistics of setting this up and the monitoring plan that was put in place?
We had 2 adjacent hotel rooms at a nearby hotel, and our tech team worked their magic and used their special techniques to put audio and video monitoring equipment in the one room. And
They brought in the Imperium tech
live
priest
monitoring
to hook it up.
next door. So as we were in the next door room, we were observing via video feed and audio what was happening right next to us.
Can you, were you involved in monitoring yourself?
I was there the entire time that they were awake.
Okay.
Yes.
And so if you had the opportunity to see all their interactions?
I did.
Can you just sort of, I understand we're talking about like a whole night, but can you kind of summarize the nature of their interactions?
They were emotional, sometimes combative. They were never on the same page with what was going on with Quentin with the investigation. They took breaks to just go get a cigarette or go get a drink and kind of come back.
Was he asking her about the truthfulness or lack thereof of the Origel story?
Repeatedly.
And what was she saying in response to those inquiries?
She doubled down on the Origel and brought up her alibi with Misty.
Is it fair to say that she was telling Danny the same lie that she was telling you?
Objection, Your Honor, leading questions.
I mean, the leading question is a question that calls for a particular answer. It's a yes or no question.
He is correct. Anybody with your question?
Is it fair to say that she was telling Danny the same lie that she was telling the police?
Yes. She was telling Danny the same story. She was sorry.
You can proceed.
I'll just withdraw the question.
Yes.
Is there anything that occurred during this full evening and night of hotel recordings that
Objection, Your Honor, it's a narrative question now. It's open-ended and broad.
I don't know how one could possibly object to a question that hasn't been finished, first of all, and I can assure you it does not call for a narrative response.
I've been here for over a week, Judge.
And- Be careful with the microphones for Ms. Natalie.
It's an open-ended question, Judge. It doesn't ask for a specific answer unless the witness testifies to what they want to testify. That's exactly what a narrative question is, and that's the problem.
I'm going to overrule and allow Mr. Dean to ask this question.
Was there anything that occurred during the hotel surveillance operation that suggested to you that Danny knew more than he was letting on or anything along those lines?
No.
I'd like to play a couple of clips from these recordings that have already been admitted into evidence and ask you a couple questions about them, okay?
Okay.
This is from State's Exhibit 32, the file beginning with 1941.
Question? Do you mind? Are you going to get it? I'm asking you a question before ask you this question? No, because I need to know. Are you gonna get
No, I
angry?
can't tell you I'm getting angry if I don't know questions.
So why did you lie to me about the order?
I didn't. I did not like you about the workout.
So you went and met Miss.
Yes, I drove there and I drove out. And they tried to say that again. I asked them to show me a picture of Missy or whatever. Did y'all speak to my phone lady? Did you speak to her? Did you speak to her husband? Is what I wanted to know. You know, and they said her husband. Why didn't you speak to her?
Stop the play back in 1942-18 on the timestamp. What was that claim that the defendant just made about what the FBI had told her as to whom they had interviewed in reference to the Misty story? What did she say there?
She stated we had not spoken to the person she referenced as Misty, but we had spoken to that person's husband.
She said that y'all told her that.
Correct.
Okay. And this is on the night of the 8th, right?
Correct.
You said you were there for observing Bridget Brock's interview with the defendant earlier on this day, right?
Yes.
And anybody from the FBI told her anything like that?
No.
I'm opening up the clip on the same exhibit, filed in against 2029. And I'm going to start the play back at 20:33:05 on the timestamp.
And you went and met Miss.
You ain't met Missy, got word, y'all.
And you said they told her?
I think so, yes.
What did she say?
And she confirmed it.
She confirmed
I'm
it?
pretty sure, yes. It's not like they sat there and told me what we said.
Oh, but they.
They said that they spoke to Missy and they didn't touch me no more about the ordeal.
Oh, okay.
What we just heard there, is that an accurate characterization of the defendant's interactions with Bridget Brock during that interview earlier that day?
No.
Sometime
No?
shortly after this, October 8th, hotel room monitoring thing, is that when the phone wire operation started?
It started on October 9th, yes.
And was Danny cooperative with that as well?
Yes, he and his mother gave consent for us to monitor his cell phone.
Were you involved in the monitoring of that wiretap through the Florida time?
I was.
Were you like a point person for it?
I was. I reviewed it every day.
I want to move forward to the October 12th interview.
How much longer do we have on
Testimony
direct?
from Special Agent Snider about this. I just want to ask you about a couple of things.
All right, people, we're gonna cut her off here midstream. There's still a while to go before he finishes up with his direct. So what we'll do tomorrow, we will finish up day 6 and get into a little bit of day 7. And there's 9 days, and we'll get to the main point here. We did have a last few super chatter thingies coming in. D Watt sent another $20. Send it to $20 there. Thank you so much. That qualifies as 1 above 10. Super, super, super. Thanks. And K Dub says Mother Trucking Fund. Also says, come on, people. All right. So the goal has ended for today. Where are we sitting? We have 10 and above. We have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, 5 counting D what? So we had 5 of 20. So tomorrow will be 15. We'll lower the goal from 20 to 15 because we got 5 of the $10 super chats and above. So tomorrow, if we get 15, it's not like sending $100 super chat doesn't satisfy the entire goal. It's the individual super chats of $10 or more. If we get 15 of them, we'll do a Saturday. My Saturday morning, Friday night U.S. trucking stream, and we'll invite Flux and Hayden and everybody else that's in the trucking thing and see who shows up. That's just a silly thing we're doing. I can sleep in Saturday. I have no problems doing that, so I'm not really pimping the goal. I would be more than happy just to sleep quiet. Why isn't this? Stop it. What are you doing? He won't go away. There we go. So here's what's happening tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be doing our regular day. It's a day 6, part of day 7. And depending on what we get as far as the goal, I might be awake on early Saturday morning. We'll do a trucking stream Saturday night trucking stream. Sunday, I don't really have anything going on Sunday, so might start the push to finish the Lego build. We might do a Lego stream on Sunday. As I mentioned yesterday, we were supposed to be doing an F at Friday tomorrow, but quite frankly, I haven't had time to prepare anything. Work has just been swamped for like the last 3.5 weeks. It's been insanely busy. Plus, doing this and then other personal stuff going on has just been crazy. And next week, I don't know. As I mentioned yesterday again, it's Christmas time. People have their own family and responsibilities and things, and Christmas takes a lot out of people. So I'm thinking of actually skipping Effort Friday for November and December, or if at most I'll do like one at the beginning of December. Probably not even going to do that. But like I said, I don't want to be a burden to anybody here in chat. So I'm thinking of just taking a break from the Effort Fridays for a couple of months, just for you folks. So, so I'm not just grifting for your Christmas money and whatnot. That's kind of weird. But I mean, all super chats are graciously and gratefully accepted. Well, silent PS, like I'm definitely not feeling it tomorrow, and like nobody's been invited, so it's not happening tomorrow. Next week or the week after could be a possibility, but then we're getting close to Christmas, and I feel icky about like having like a major griftathon right when everybody's like, oh my God, Christmas is tight with money for everybody. So I'm thinking of just kind of blowing it off until January. We'll see. But like I said, if anybody's feeling particularly generous, I'll never stop you from sending super chats, just to be honest. So anywho, like I said, we got 5 of the yellows and above. So we'll reduce the goal to 15 by tomorrow. Legal Advice do a charity griftathon, a donation stream, pick a foundation, and people can help out and donate. I don't do that for just a couple of reasons. I mean, one, YouTube takes a chunk out of it. And any super chats that come in, they take a chunk out of it. Plus, there's making sure the money gets here to me, when I get the YouTube payout here, and then there's exchange rates and fees for that, and there's transparency problems. And I know like Streamlabs and stuff, they'll do certain things where it goes directly to the people, but StreamYard doesn't have anything like that, and I don't want to open up to anything like where people question what's happened to how come this only this where show me the receipt. I just I don't get involved. Plus I don't know, I don't even know where it goes. You send money to people to these funds, and who knows how much of it just goes to marketing and all sorts of other junk. So I kind of stay out of things. The Hayden Get Well Fund. So anywho, so yeah, it's kind of weird and kind of leery, and I don't, because I mean it ends up like being weird. I've seen far too many streamers get screwed over and have horrible problems resulting from streams like that. It's just kind of a thing. But anyway, enough of that. Hopefully we'll be able to wrap this up by the end of next week, or maybe a little bit into the week following. But then, according to the like and subscribe poll today, which we're going to shut down, it seems like you all want to take a break from trial stuff for a minute. So 33% of you, exactly 1 in 3 of you said do court cam reactions. All right, we'll find some court cam videos, and we'll watch those for a day or two after this trial wraps up. The next highest was Judge Grudge. Oh, we've got so much Judge Grudge. Judge DeThomas out of Florida, Judge DeThomasis. We've got so much to talk about with him and the various cases he's doing weird stuff in. And 20% of you said Maya Kowalski, and 19% of you in 4th place, Tonsil Twins. I'm surprised. I thought Tonsil Twins would be top or close to. It's at the bottom. So there you go. Looks like when we finish this, we'll do court cam reactions for a couple of days. Super. And as we near the end of the trial, I might be soliciting y'all to email me some of your favorite court cam videos. All right, that's kind of it. Strawberry finally. See, it's because it's your fault, people. It's your fault. She didn't know her name was Strawberry until this streaming thing, until the doggo cam became a thing. She only knew her Korean name, which is Dargi, which is strawberry. So, now I got away with her for a while just saying strawberry, but now she knows that, hey, that's me in 2 languages. Yoda, of course, is just dumber than a bucket of dirt. So he doesn't even know his name, period. He's just dumber than dirt. That's why we love him. All right. From the doggos, folks, thank you very much. And thank you, mods, for being super moddy and super, super awesome. And chat, thank you so much for getting us to day 63 of emotional support potato pig dogs. We'll see if tomorrow gets us to day 64. And thank you so much for the generous super chats, the cash apps, the gifted memberships. Sonny and Chris dumping 20 on us like they're going out of style. For the new members, fly on the wall, signing up for the new memberships. Thank you all for just being here and getting us through this trial. We are on our way out. See you all tomorrow for more. Until then, take care of yourselves. Have a great, awesome morning, afternoon, evening, middle of the night, wherever you are and whatever the hell's going on in your life. Thanks for being here with me, and look forward to, hopefully before start time tomorrow, me dropping my review of Dune Prophecy Season 1, Episode 1. I've finished the audio. I got to throw in a little bit of video and then upload it. So hopefully we'll be able to do that before we go live tomorrow. Got some comments about that. Take care, everybody. We'll see you. Be awesome. Oh, and by the way, mods, start getting ready, because 3 weeks from now or so, somewhere around the 2nd or 3rd week of December, we will have our 3rd annual very moddy Christmas, where we'll take a day and we'll invite the mods to come on here, so to come on stream with us, so you can meet and talk directly to the mods. So stay tuned for the 3rd annual very moddy Christmas, come up in about 3-4 weeks from now. Everybody, again, for the 3rd or 4th time now, I lose track. I'm out. We'll see you later. Love you guys. You are the best. Tomorrow, be here.